This is a photograph I found on Unsplash that I really, really loved. I love the rainbow color. I love the background all fuzzy like that. I just really thought it was pretty. And of course, I love the message because I think we all need to be as kind as we possibly can. Everyone is dealing with their own crises and things in their lives, so I try really hard to be kind to everyone. So here is my outline. I did take a kneaded eraser and dab up some of the excess graphite. If you wanted, you could do some masking fluid just on the left side where you see each of the chain link fence is a little bit wider, but I'm not going to worry about that. I'm just going to paint it, and if I can't preserve the white good enough, then I'll just use a brush to lift some of it out. So let's get started. I'm going to mix up some pretty blue for the sky. The reference photo shows like it's snow, and I'm not going to have mine look like snow. You could do it any way you want, but I'm going to use more greens and yellows down here. I want it to be a bright, sunny, summery day. Okay, I've got a very thirsty brush here, this hockey brush, and I'm just going to wet the entire background except for the heart. Because we're going to do the background all at one time. Have to turn it so I can see it. Need to get a little smaller brush here to go around that heart. This brush had a little bit of yellow in it. That's okay. I was mixing up some greenish yellow. Okay, let's inspect it. Let's look for any areas that are not shiny. Okay, I'm going to let this sit for about 20 to 30 seconds so it'll really soak in. I'm going to turn the camera off so that you don't watch water dry. Okay, it's been about 20 seconds or so. It's still very, very shiny, but I don't have any big puddles. So I'm just going to start putting some of this phthalo blue up the top. It's such a bright blue. It's so pretty. As long as everything is still glistening from being super wet, you can fiddle with the paint. And while that blue is doing its thing, I'm going to start adding some sap green here at the bottom. A little bit of this Nicolazo yellow. It's so bright. It's so pretty. It's about to meet the blue up there. That's what we want it to do. Okay, I've mixed up some of this green with a little bit of burnt sienna to kind of do some kind of trees or bushes or something back there. Just let it blend. I'm going to add a little bit of ultramarine. I had to think about what color that was. Went over the line here. That's okay. A little of this bright Nicolazo yellow, any kind of yellow. Now I'm going to let gravity help me out here. Now I'm just going to splatter some water here and there. Get some texture. You could use salt. I really like the look of water droplets with watercolor. I like the little blue I put in there. Put some more of this burnt sienna. Pick up my water droplets that got on the heart. I got a little bit over the line here, but that's okay. This is going to be bright red and orange and a yellow here. So if I need to do some lifting of those colors, it's no problem. Oh, it's so pretty. Okay, let this dry. While it's still wet, I'm going to do some grasses here, just with this sap green. Just some grasses down here at the bottom. Tap in some more water drops. I really like texture. Okay, now I'm going to let it dry. Okay, it's dry. I'm going to clean up this edge over here. I think the other colors will cover it up pretty good, but I'm going to see what I can do to clean it up. I just have a 1/4 inch kind of stiff brush. This came with a gouache set. And I'm just getting it wet. Dab it off. And then scrub. It may not take it all off, but that's okay. It'll take enough off. Oh, that's good enough. Okay, I've got a couple of colors mixed here. I've got yellow and red. I'm going to do alternating lines here so that they can dry and they won't bleed into each other. So yellow is pretty opaque. So you see how that went over that little green there? It covered it pretty good. I'm just going to go over the whole thing because I'm going to use ink for this, for the writing. See, this is already looking so happy. Now the red. I'm just going over it again. I want it red. Oh, it's so pretty. Now some blue. It actually would look pretty if these were all done where they're all still wet and they start blending into each other. That would be pretty. But I'm going to do them separate. Look how pretty. Okay, this has got to dry. Okay, it's dry. So now we're going to do the orange, green, and purple. And the purple. Okay, let that dry. It's so pretty. Okay, I'm going to start on the fence, and I've got this really pretty color from, I know I'm going to pronounce it wrong, Waiei. She makes handmade watercolors. They're really amazing, and this, I normally don't use a black, but I really like this. I'm watered it down quite a lot to get kind of a grayish color. So I'm just going to go through and paint all the really dark fence pieces here. And I have to turn it all different ways to do that. Yeah, I thought this would look really good, this color. Payne's Gray can look kind of bluish sometimes. I've got a tiny brush here. This is a size 0 Holbein Gold. Really good brushes. It's starting to look like a fence. Okay, I'm going to let that dry. Now I'm going to work on the other part of the fence, the chain link fence, using the same color. There's a lot of white on that. I'm going to use either a gouache or a gel pen to add the white. You could mask out, but I'm too lazy to do that. I'm not a fan of masking. I'm doing kind of a dark line on the right side here. And then taking a damp brush and going on the other side. Damp brush. Turn this all around here. Damp brush. Damp brush. brush. That one was really damp. Let me dab some of that water up. The brush just kind of unloaded. This is really too wet right here to deal with, so I'm going to go up here. I'm going to do 2 of them since I've got so much paint on this brush. And come back with the damp. Come back down here. This should be dry enough. Kind of looks like a fence. I'm going to add some darker values on the right side of each of these, just a little, in the areas where I think it needs it. Like a fence. Okay, I'm going to let this dry before I add anything else to it. Okay, this is dry. Now I'm going to do another, add some more of the dark where I think it needs to be. I'm just going to look at the reference photo and add just a line of this dark, this black, where I think it needs to be. The sun is coming from this way, so the dark side's going to be on the right side. Gonna use a damp brush on areas that I think need to be smoothed out a bit. Damp brush. Damp brush. Kind of went outside the lines there. Okay, I think that looks, it's getting a little bit more realistic. Okay, so now I'm going to do the shading here for that little zip tie. I'm not quite sure what that's called. I think it's a zip tie. So I'm just going to get a little bit of ultramarine blue, some burnt sienna. It makes a real pretty gray. Okay, I think it's good enough. Oh, I apologize. I'm not doing the shadow. I'm doing the zip tie. I said the shadow, but no, I'm going to do this. Just on the right side of it, I added that mixture, and then I'm taking the damp brush and just smearing it out. Doesn't need much. Keeping this area right here completely white. Okay, the zip tie is done. Now the next thing to do is to do the letters. I'm going to use ink for this. You can use a micron pen. I just wanted to make sure I had enough ink in here. So it kind of looks like they used, actually it looks like black glue they squeezed out to do the letters. So I'm going to do kind of a rugged shape. I'm going to try to not be super perfect here because I want it to look homemade, because someone made this. I want it to have the different bumps in it. You could use a micron pen. You could even use Payne's Gray or black if you wanted to paint this in. I just thought this would be easier. Okay, this needs to be completely dry before we do the shadows. You can see there's some shadows around to the right side of the letters, but that's got to be completely dry. That ink is amazing when it's dry. However, with it being wet, it would bleed. Now I've got a white pen here, a white gel pen, and I'm just going to look at the reference photo and just add some white where I think it needs to be. This will make it really start looking like it's a metal chain link fence. The sun is hitting it on this side. You could use gouache for this. Let's see where else. Okay, I think that's pretty much it for the fence. I may add some more dark values. In fact, I will right here. It's kind of wimpy over here. It's because the background is so dark. I'm just fiddling. Okay, I'm going to make sure this is completely dry before I come in and do the shadows. Okay, I believe the ink is dry. So I'm going to use the same mixture I did here that I used for this white zip tie of ultramarine blue and burnt sienna, and I'm just going to do a little shadow. And then now the shadow for the zip tie. And then you can see on the lettering here, there's some white highlights because it's raised. So I'm going to see if I can add some white highlights too. I'm going to try a different pen. This is a Jelly Roll pen. Those seem to work pretty good. Oh yeah, this is making a difference. Okay, I'm going to walk away and come back in a bit and see if I think it's done, but I think it's probably done. I am calling this done. I've got my mat on it. I think this is just so pretty. You could do this fence design over any landscape painting. If you want to look like you're looking through a fence at a prairie, a field of flowers, whatever, it would be really kind of pretty to add to an existing painting. And all you would need to do is just trace the fence and add some color, do some little highlights with the white, and then you would be done. The only thing I wished I had done differently is not use sap green for this. It needed a brighter green like phthalo green, or even mixing phthalo with a yellow. This is a little too I'm not sure what the word is. It's not a bright green. It's more of a foliage green, but it's still beautiful. I love it, and I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and I look forward to seeing what you do with this. You could make this say anything you want. You could put I love you on here and give it as a gift to someone. Happy birthday. Oh, there's so many things you could do. You could make the sign a circle or a square. Whatever you want to do. This would just be fun. So thank you so much for being a subscriber.